For all your science and tech news, it's Stash Butler with The Download.
Welcome to The Download, a brand new show from Radio Taiwan International, covering all the latest developments in science and technology. I'm your host, Stash Butler, and I'll be taking you through everything you need to know. Today, I'm speaking to Chiayo Kuo. She's the founder of Taiwan Digital Diplomacy Association, an NGO that's helping showcase the best of Taiwan to the rest of the world. But what is digital diplomacy? And can social media really help Taiwan on the international stage? All that coming up on The Download.
Hello everyone, I'm Chiayo Kuo. I'm the founder of Taiwan Digital Diplomacy Association. I founded this association to try to help Taiwan to increase the international exposure in the international world. So we got a lot of media coverage in Taiwan because currently we are the only organization who is focusing on international promotion strategy in Taiwan. We do a lot of research and we reach out to people in other countries who are friendly to Taiwan, and also reach out to foreign media who want to do interview or documentary to Taiwan. And we also have more than 30,000 fans on Facebook, and also we got millions exposures on foreign social media community as well. And what we are trying to do is to shorten the distance between Taiwanese and foreign people, the distance in their minds, and to create a friendly image of Taiwanese, and also to let people build trust or the partnership between Taiwanese and foreign countries.
What was it that made you start the organization? What was the kind of problem you looked at and thought, well, I need to do something to fix this?
I got this idea many years before I established this organization, because before I was working in Greece and Hungary for human rights and refugees, and also gypsy peoples. And when I was working in the European nonprofit organizations, I noticed that how European nonprofit organizations communicate with general public is by they use Facebook, and actually their audience are not only in one country. They communicate with the audience across to many different countries, because refugees, they come from different countries too. So at the same time, I was thinking about Taiwanese are very good at social media or digital marketing, but we rarely talk to foreign audience. Mostly we talk to Taiwanese ourselves. We don't know how to communicate with foreign audience. Even we know how to use social media. We have so many tricks on it. Yeah, but so I was thinking about maybe I can do something to transfer the energy of social media of Taiwanese into something to help Taiwan to increase the international exposure. So I had this idea when I was in Europe, but I didn't know what it will become. And after a couple of years, I got a chance to go to Kosovo, and I think of this idea, and I also want to do an experiment about how powerful is social media that can, if it can help Taiwan connect with another country's government, a country who has never heard about Taiwan, like Kosovo. So I started my experiment in 2017, and then it kind of works because during the year we got a lot of attention from Kosovo government and Kosovo media, because I went there to promote the partnership of digital development between Taiwan and Kosovo. So I found it quite efficient to use social media to connect Taiwan with foreign countries. So I established this Digital Diplomacy Association after the stay of Kosovo.
So what does that mean? When you establish this kind of social media or kind of digital links between countries? What kind of things go into that? What kind of things do you organize?
Mm-hmm. You mean what is digital diplomacy?
Yeah, essentially what is digital diplomacy? What does it mean in practice?
Okay. Digital diplomacy actually is a form of public diplomacy. by public diplomacy, it means, in diplomatic works, the audience we have to communicate is not only foreign government, but also foreign citizens. But most of the time, our government forget this part of the diplomatic work. To reach out foreign citizens, the most efficient channels are traditional medias or social medias. You can think about a country in your mind. You can it might comes with a lot of different image, and you can think about where does this image come from about this country, and mostly you will find out mostly it's come from social media or traditional media. So I think digital diplomacy is using its way to develop the strategy, like how to deliver a message on social media and traditional media about your country, like to build trust and also to build network with foreign citizens. And also by this trust, you can strengthen the relation between your country and other countries. If people has trust with each other, they can do business, or they will be more willing to go travel to each other's country, or they will be more friendly to people come from this country. So I think digital diplomacy, even the effect is not so visible, but in long term is something critical for diplomatic work, because the core is building trust within people.
What kind of image do you think Taiwan has now in other countries, and what kind of image would you like it to have in the future?
Can I ask you what is the image of you about Taiwan before you came to Taiwan?
You mean in the UK?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I think a lot of people in Taiwan don't know. Sorry, a lot of people in the UK don't know a lot about Taiwan. Full stop.
Yeah.
I think I knew about Taipei 101. Mm-hmm. I remember when I was a kid, reading about.
Good.
yeah, exactly. I remember, I think it was back then. It was the tallest building in the world.
Yeah.
And so I think I probably would have thought of Taiwan as this kind of technological kind of economic center kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But past that, I don't think I really had a kind of very strong impression either way. I mean, I guess maybe that's the opportunity, is that you can decide.
Mm-hmm. No impression is the worst. I would rather people have some concrete impression, even if it is not so good. But I noticed that most of the foreign people, the image about Taiwan is no impression. So I think I hope by my job I can create some impression or create some memory between Taiwan and foreign citizens. What we are trying to do, you can see we hold a lot of events for foreigners in Taiwan or foreigners in other countries, or sometimes we invite foreign speakers to come to Taiwan. What we are trying to create is we're building the memory between Taiwanese and foreigners, because we believe that if you really want to become true friends, you have to have some common topics or common memories. So we do offline events, and also we do online campaign too, because we cannot go to all the countries ourselves. We do online campaign, and we try to find common topics between Taiwanese social media or foreign social media. What is the common topic we can talk about? And if we find something common, then we will launch a campaign and to catch the attention of foreign peoples on social media, to catch their attention on social media. And after they pay attention to Taiwanese people on social media, and we started to shape the image of Taiwan and to make Taiwan be more attractive to foreigners, because we will let them know we have something common with them. And after they feel attractive or they feel interested in Taiwan, and they will keep looking at our content, and maybe they will have more trust with us.
What does that kind of campaign look like? I mean, you said, finding something in common with other countries.
Okay. Last year, we launched a campaign, Milk Tea Alliance, and we focus more on Indian audience, because the original Milk Tea Alliance, it only includes Thailand, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. But we noticed that a lot of Indian people on Twitter, they want to join this campaign as well. So we quickly draw a picture that we put Tsai Ing-wen on the picture holding Taiwanese milk bubble milk tea, and we also put Modi on this picture as well, and holding Indian milk tea, and to share with it. We let them to share with each other. And because milk tea is something common in our daily life. Taiwanese, we drink milk tea, and Indian drink milk tea as well. And also they can recognize our president immediately, and Indian can recognize Modi immediately. So we feel intimate in this picture because India has some border conflicts with China last year. So this picture just spread very fast. We got like 7,000 shares from May to October last year because they keep having conflicts with China, so they keep using this picture. And also there was India magazine. They also used this picture to discuss about like they should rethink about the relation between India and China and India and Taiwan. So I feel it quite interesting that how people react so fast on social media if they find something interesting. And actually a lot of people are caring about the international effort. So if we create some materials which is interesting or shareable, they will get shared very fast.
It's almost like now there's this kind of genre of online news reporting, which is just sort of reporting on social media. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes you just see a news story and it's just like, oh, this is going crazy on social media. So I guess like that can really work in your favor. You know, if you get something going mad on social media, then it then filters into kind of maybe more traditional media.
We are creating news somehow. Like we want Taiwan to get more international media exposure, but at the same time we're creating the news as well.
So I mean those are examples of kind of I suppose digital events that you did, but you also do in-person events, right? You do physical things. So I mean most recently I guess would be the example of the Dajia Mazu pilgrimage.
Mazu pilgrimage.
Yeah, so I mean just for our listeners, I mean that's kind of one of the biggest religious sort of festivals in the world according to Discovery Channel, I believe. Up to 1 million people visiting this pilgrimage, this kind of traditional Taiwanese religious celebration. And yeah, I mean, tell me what you did at that event.
Actually, the Mazu pilgrimage was a kind of a surprise for us because we got the request from Zhenlan Temple like 12 days before the Mazu pilgrimage. And their request is they want to let the international world know more about this tradition, and they want all the world to be interested in this event. So their ideas is like they want us to bring all the ambassadors in Taiwan to participate in the Mazu pilgrimage, which has never happened before. When we got this request, we think how to attract the ambassadors who doesn't believe in this religion and be willing to attend this event, and how to introduce the event to those ambassadors. And at the same time, like if they want more international exposure, it's not enough if we just bring all the ambassadors to Dajia. We have to think about the strategy about how to let more international journalists participate in it. So at the end, it becomes a travel tour. Like we bring ambassadors from 13 different countries. Some of them are representatives because we don't have diplomatic relation with all of them. We bring diplomats from 13 different countries, and we bring 8 different foreign journalists from different medias, and also YouTubers from 3 different countries, and some of my foreign friends as well, foreigners in Taiwan. And AIT, they have around 16 people participating in it, so it became around 70 people in that tour. And we organized this travel tour in 12 days, and we try to introduce this tradition or this event to all of the participants. And also we train our volunteers to help with this event, because it's something different with the events we had before, because we go to another cities and we will move to different places all day, and there will be around 300,000 people flood into this small town. It kind of exciting situation, but actually sometimes complicated. So we need volunteers to help with this event. So we organized all this within 12 days, and then we went to Dajia Mazu. I think people enjoy these events a lot because a lot of ambassadors told me they have lived in Taiwan around 20 years, but they have never participated in it. They know about this event, but they have never participated in it. And it was the first year they got invited. And when the world is under the pandemic, it's also quite impressive that Taiwan can have this kind of big events. We have 300,000 people participate in it. Oh, I also see some ambassadors, they even take out their iPhone to have video chat with their families at home, and they want to share the excitement with their family, and also how friendly Taiwanese toward them. Because when we were watching the Dajia pilgrimage, we were on the international stage, and all the Taiwanese who passed by the stage, they waving very hard and say thank you, welcome to Taiwan. So I think people are quite amazed by how friendly people welcome them join this event.
I guess it's a kind of cliche about Taiwan that the best thing about Taiwan is its people, right? You talked about how that was different from your other events that you organised. I mean, the one that comes to mind for me was the big football tournament you organised a few months back. I mean, tell me about that. How did that come about?
There was another accident because sometimes we organize the event based on what kind of people we meet. And last year we met a Honduran guy, and he told us, there are 3,000 Latinos in Taiwan, and every year they will have a football tournament called Copa America Taiwan in Furen University. At first, I didn't pay attention to this event, but the Honduran guy, he told me this is a very important event for all the Latinos in Taiwan, because every year they are quite looking forward to it, and like football is very important in their spirit. Football is critical for Latinos, so all the Latinos in Taiwan, every year in October, they will come to Taipei from Taichung, from Kaohsiung to participate in this football tournament. And also all the embassies from Latin America, they would participate in it as well. Most of our diplomatic allies come from Latin America. So I think it is something important for Taiwanese diplomatic works. And last year, I tried to introduce this event to more Taiwanese government sectors, like to seek for help or seek for sponsorship. And also we enlarged the scale of this football tournament, because before last year, the average audience or the average participant of this event was around 600 to 800 maybe. But last year we got 4,000 people. Because the Honduran guy told me before last year there was no Taiwanese audience who will participate in that or be interested in that. But last year we do a lot of promotion to Taiwanese people. We introduce them there are so many Latinos living in the same society with us and what they are doing here. And here is a football game that you can meet our diplomatic allies or meet our Latino friends in this football event. And we not only have the football tournament, we also have a food festival. We invite all the Latinos in Taiwan, they can sell food from their hometown and share the happiness with Taiwanese people. So I think it's a quite good event for cultural exchange, and also to increase the intimacy between Taiwanese and Latinos.
Obviously, I knew you then, and I knew you were organising it, but I was hearing about it through other friends. It was quite a big event in Taiwan, I think, at the time.
We have 23 different teams. We have male team, female team, and even kids.
Oh, really? Kids teams?
I mean, they are mixed.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the British team win in the end?
Yeah, British team won the champion.
Oh, really?
And all the Latinos teams are, I think they're not so happy about that. I feel sorry, but yeah, British team won the game. It's not only for Latinos actually, because we have Spanish team, British team, and a lot of European and African teams want to join as well. We are open for foreigners who want to participate, not only Latinos, because we think Taiwan is a quite open environment, and we want to make it international, so we should not exclude anyone out of this event.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, obviously events like that with so many people taking part, they get their own kind of natural, so people post on social media. I mean, I know a friend of mine, went to watch a game, and so I saw videos of it on social media.
Yeah, we do live broadcast.
Yeah, exactly. And but then you also had traditional kind of news media covering it as well, right?
We got 80 different media coverage in Taiwan and 28 media coverage in Latin America on their television, on their magazines, or on their newspaper. Because our purpose to hold this event is to increase the exposure of Taiwan in Latin America. And we had a media team. We got a lot of volunteers from different countries, and they helped us to contact local journalists and also to help us translate the press release. So I think the difference between the events we hold by our organization and other organization is that we really focus on how to increase the influence after the event.
I mean, now Taiwan is currently, it's got a level 3 COVID alert that's throughout the country, which means that it essentially translates to a kind of soft lockdown where restaurants and cafes are only allowed to offer takeout, and people are mostly, well, where possible, working from home. So those kinds of big events aren't really possible. So what are you working towards at the moment? What are the kind of things you're working on?
I think for now, the most important job of us is to keep people's interest about international efforts. Because I think people pay a lot of attention on the pandemic itself. We want to remind people that we should still keep the interaction with the international world. So after the outbreak, our job mostly focused on increase people's interest about international efforts, like we write more digital content, or we do more interviews with international students, or we try to introduce Taiwanese people, how people in other countries went through the pandemic, like what they did at home last year. Also, to encourage people, they can also do some digital diplomacy at home. For example, last week, Lithuania donates a lot of next thing to Taiwan, and we encourage people to leave comments below the Twitter account of their politicians. Like we try to make people feel that they can still do something at home by digital diplomacy. This is what we are doing now.
So I guess you started this organization in 2017. You're saying, well, that was when you started thinking about it.
Formally 2018.
2018. Okay. So it's been running now for 3 years, let's say.
Yeah.
How has the pandemic, since February 2020 or January 2020, how do you think that has affected Taiwan? And do you think Taiwan will come out of this weaker or stronger than before?
Last year, I was living in Vietnam. I was living in Vietnam from 2019 to 2020. But after the pandemic, I moved back. And before the pandemic, I was organizing a project named Taiwan Corner, which is a citizen diplomacy coffee shop in Ho Chi Minh City. But because of the pandemic, I stopped the project, and then I moved back to Taiwan and started to rethink what should we do during this situation. At first, I was not so optimistic about our job, but after a while, I realized that digital diplomacy, it is something really needed during the pandemic, because everyone is locked down in our own countries. We cannot go to other countries to do any diplomatic works. But at the same time, social media is the tool we have in our hands, like to keep our interaction with the international world. So we try to develop more strategy or to do more reports about what is the importance of digital diplomacy. And at the same time, I think Taiwanese started to pay attention to digital diplomacy as well, because when I established this association in 2018, no one knows about what is digital diplomacy. And people ask me, why am I doing this? Because they think that the diplomacy work is already good of Taiwan. But after the pandemic, I think people's attitude has a lot of change toward digital diplomacy, and a lot of institutions, they came to us and asked about what is our digital strategy under this situation. So I think the pandemic is kind of positive to our organization, and during the pandemic, I also think the international world give more attention to Taiwan. And for Taiwan, we are at the same line with other countries now, because before, like sometimes I feel Taiwanese is kind of exclusive by the international world, but because everyone is locked down in their own country, so we are on the same line. And I also think the international world has changed their attitude toward China a lot during this year. So maybe it's an opportunity for Taiwan, and I hope Taiwan can catch the ball, like to think more about how to develop the digital strategy of the diplomatic works, and also how to use the opportunity of international world change their attitude toward China. Like this is an opportunity for us, how to use this opportunity to create more allies of Taiwan.
You know, with your work, you're kind of working alongside, the foreign ministry, these kind of official diplomatic kind of organizations. How does that look? How does that work? I mean, do you work with them directly? What's your relationship with the kind of these official organizations?
Okay, I think we are more like partner, and actually at first Taiwanese government, they feel suspicious about my association because they don't know what we are doing and they don't know who we are. They don't believe citizens can do diplomatic works. But after a while, they understand we are trying to help their works. Like what we are doing is helping their works, and also create some new possibility of diplomatic work. So after maybe I think a year, so the Taiwanese government become very friendly toward us. And sometimes I was invited to government sector to share our experience about how to increase Taiwan's international exposures, and also share our experience about how to observe foreign citizens on social media and to develop our strategy. I think the relationship between the government and us is more like, I hope we will more like a formal partner in the future, because I believe the strength of nonprofit organization is that when an NGO person goes to another country, the foreigner will feel less defensive. Because we are NGO, we don't have interest conflict with them, or we don't have a strong intention like the government. So actually NGO is a very good partner for the government to build local network. So I hope in the future we will have closer partnership with the government.
We see a lot of things like this, with like citizen journalists and stuff, where, realistically anyone with the right skills, with the right kind of access to internet can do something like journalism and potentially disrupt these big traditional kind of newspaper kind of organizations. Yeah. How much of what you are doing do you think is like could replace traditional diplomacy? Or how much do we really need traditional diplomacy? Is it still essential, or is something like digital diplomacy enough?
I think traditional diplomatic institution is still needed, because all the diplomatic institutions, they are working for the own interests of their people, and it needs power to ensure your interest in a foreign country. So I think a formal diplomatic institution is still needed. But like the value of a civil organization like us, who is doing diplomatic works, is that we can have better communication with the citizens in another country. And also, like what I said, we have more flexibility, and also we do the network maybe faster than a big institution, because we're small and quite flexible. So I would not say our job is more important than a formal diplomatic institution. I think it should exist at the same time. Like the embassies, they do their job, and we can help from the side way, and also we can explore more possibility or opportunities for the government as well. And also at the same time, I think people-to-people diplomacy is also important, because sometimes I think like people-to-people diplomacy, we can find more interesting topics to communicate with each other. And I think what we're doing is trying to build more channels for Taiwan in other countries, because I believe in the future the diplomacy would be like multi-channel communication. Everyone can represent your country, and everyone can deliver the image or the national branding of your country. I think we should have the mindset that everyone can be an ambassador.
Is your kind of organization unique to Taiwan? I mean, do organizations like yours exist elsewhere, or is there something peculiar about Taiwan that means that it really suits the kind of work you do?
In Taiwan, I think we are the only organization who focus on international promotion. But in other countries, I see a lot of organizations, they are doing the same job. For example, I see Korea, they have an organization named Korea Foundation. It was established by their Foreign Affairs Ministry in 1991. They has done a lot of jobs to train volunteers, citizen volunteers, to promote their country, like to create the attractiveness of Korea. For now, I remember they have around 250,000 volunteers. It's a big amount.
This is South Korea we're talking about,
yeah,
right?
South Korea. And they give guidebook to those volunteers and to teach them how to promote their countries. It's amazing, but sometimes it is controlled by the government. It's something controlled by the government too. But I think it's still smart of Korean government. They know to establish this kind of organization 30 years ago. It also shows us that maybe Korea can be a sample of Taiwan. Like, people should have the skills to promote their countries, but government will give you the direction. So I hope Taiwan in the future, maybe the government can define the direction of international promotion or diplomacy more clear. Then our organization from civil society, we can train more people to have the digital skills to promote Taiwan as well.
That kind of brings me on to, I guess my kind of final question, which is, what's the future for your organization, and what are your plans essentially?
Our plan, I think this year we work more on public communication, because in the past 3 years I noticed that there are only a small group of people who maybe they have international experience or they want to study abroad. They will pay attention to the topic, the issue we are talking about. But I believe diplomacy is something that everyone can do. Even you are a teacher or you are a waiter in a restaurant, I think in all the industry you will have the opportunity to be the diplomats of Taiwan. So in the future, I want to let more Taiwanese people feel they can also be a diplomat of Taiwan, and also they can find their own value in the international efforts. Like, international effort is connected with everyone. We are not alone. We are all in the international world.
That was Chiayo Kuo from Taiwan Digital Diplomacy Association telling me how her organisation is empowering ordinary people to become online ambassadors for their country. I'll see you next week for a brand new episode of The Download.